Goodbye to you, my trusted friend. We've known each other since we were 9 or 10. Together we've climbed hills and trees, learned of love and ABC, and skinned our hearts and skinned our knees. Goodbye, my friend, it's hard to die when all the birds are singing in the sky. Now that the spring is in the air, pretty girls are everywhere. Think of me and I'll be there. We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun, but the hills that we climbed were just seasons out of time. Goodbye, Papa, please pray for me. I was the black sheep of the family. You tried to teach me right from wrong. Too much wine and too much song, wonder how I got along. Goodbye, Papa, it's hard to die when all the birds are singing in the sky. Now that the spring is in the air, little children everywhere. When you see them, I'll be there. We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun, but the wine and the song, like the seasons, have all gone. We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun, but the wine and the song, like the seasons, have all gone. Goodbye, Michelle, my little one. You gave me love and helped me find the sun. And every time that I was down, you would always come around and get my feet back on the ground. Goodbye, Michelle, it's hard to die when all the birds are singing in the sky. Now that the spring is in the air, with the flowers everywhere, I wish that we could both be there. We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun, but the stars we could reach were just starfish on the beach. We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun, but the stars we could reach were just starfish on the beach. We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun, but the wine and the song, like the seasons, have all gone. All our lives we had fun, we had seasons in the sun, but the hills that we climbed were just seasons out of time. We had joy, we had fun, we had...
Sharon Ann Eastley passed away suddenly. Loved and loving daughter of Dorothy and Brian, deceased. Much loved sister of Glenn and Darryl, deceased. Our hearts are broken. Taken too soon. Loved mother of Alicia, Janelle, Lacey and Clayton. And loved nanny Sharon, of Cade, Jack, Kaylee, Addison, Nate and Charlotte. Forever in our hearts. Good afternoon to you all, ladies and gentlemen, and on behalf of her family, I welcome you as you have gathered to pay your respects to a good woman, Sharon Ann Eastley. My name is Dudley Corbett. I'm indeed honoured to be invited by the family to conduct this celebration of Sharon's life. The service will take place here in the chapel, and then we will process to the Burney Lawn Cemetery for interment. At the conclusion of same, the family would love to have you return here to the chapel and join in some refreshments and Yes, and have a good old chinwag, because I reckon some of you may not have seen each other for quite a while. It's a great chance to catch up and to share your stories, and we know that there are many stories. And with that in mind, I must give you just a little bit of warning that I'll be opening the service very shortly for any of you who would care to share a story in public here this afternoon. We do have some wonderful tributes to get and to deliver, but you will have a chance to speak if you so desire. The family have also asked me to thank you for this wonderful attendance here today, to assure you all of the great comfort that it gives them to know that Sharon was so loved and so respected. Sharon herself, I don't think, would have wanted a long, drawn-out service. I think she would have said, now, don't go on too long, Spud, just make it sweet and short but respectful. But tell my family and friends to move on and to make the most of their time. Sharon certainly wouldn't want you to be sad, but she would be so thankful that you good people here today meant so much to her. You will all have and hold dear many special memories of this rather unique young lady, and many stories can be told, I'm sure. Those memories will stay with you forever, and you will always remember and treasure her lasting legacy. Nothing can now detract from all that you have shared with Sharon. Nothing can affect the great happiness and depth of experience that she herself knew. The past, with all its meaning, is sacred. It is also secure. And your love for Sharon and her love for you, her family and friends, can never be altered by time or by circumstance. As I sat with family members the other day, I had a couple of very nice hot scones, but most of all, and more importantly, I got a story, and I thank Dorothy for putting this together. I learned that Sharon was born in the Burney Hospital on the 3rd of May 1964 to Mum Dorothy Rose Eastley and Dad Brian Roy Eastley, commonly known as Oscar. Siblings Glenn Roy and Darryl Wayne, deceased. Sharon went to school, Acton Primary School, and then later on to Parklands High. She loved her sport, and she was into hockey, softball, netball and swimming. She was a very good swimmer, and she gained a Royal Life-Saving Certificate. She loved her pets, Millie the Maltese, and a couple of cats, Inky and Inca. They're good names for cats. Her hobbies were, well, some of them were painting, and she loved the hobby text, and a lot of you ladies here today will remember the hobby text. Well, it was a craze, I suppose, that swept everywhere, and yes, everybody was into their hobby text. When she was the ripe old age of 13, she worked at the Acton Takeaway, and she worked at evenings and after school, weekends, and she worked at other takeaway shops in the area as well. Later on, she went to the Top Centre Laundry in East Devonport and became a leading hand, and she was there for 13 years. She did a course in aged care, and she worked in that position for a year, but she didn't like it very much, so she pulled up stumps there and went to work in the Carrick pub. There's a bit of a difference between aged care and the Carrick pub, but no doubt she'd have made a lot of friends wherever she went, and she had that type of bubbly personality that you'll hear a little bit later on that would have endeared her to absolutely everybody that she came in contact with. She loved country music. She loved music in general. And she had music. She had the beat. She loved to cook. She was a good cook, and she made lovely pasta dishes. Garlic pizza. apricot chicken. Christmas Day, she cooked everything on Christmas Day. She especially loved to cook and make birthday cakes. You're making me hungry, Sharon. She was a parent's help at the school, and she helped the young ones to read, and she was a reading tutor at the school, and she worked for a long time in the canteen at Brooklyn School. She was never idle. She was always busy, always doing something, always making new friends, and always making sure that everybody knew she was about. She had a very outgoing personality, and she made friends just so easily, as we said. Some time ago, she did travel to Queensland for about 12 months, and then she spent time in Melbourne and Hobart, and she travelled around the place a little bit, but she had she had lots of friends, but she had a very special friend in Karen Hodge, and so no doubt the stories could be told there. She was a good mum. Our Sharon was a good mum, and I'm told that she was also a good babysitter in her younger days, and she was used quite often as a babysitter. She had one little trait. Before you sort of knocked on the door and went inside, you could probably hear Sharon halfway through a packet of chewing gum. She used to make rather a noise, apparently, while she had a packet of chewing gum. So today, I bought something for her. There's some juicy fruit to take on your journey. Yes. No, she certainly made an impression on everybody. As a child, she loved television, she loved the movies, and she loved things like Little House on the Prairie and Bewitched, and she had a stack of DVDs, and she used to sit down and watch them over and over again. She was such a loving person that everybody tells me, and Mum will tell us just a little bit more shortly, but wherever she went, she endeared herself to everybody, and it's a great tribute to this young lady that you people have turned up en masse today to pay tribute and to say farewell to this outgoing lady and who was tragically taken far too soon. I have a tribute here before I call on Mum to come and tell us a few loving words about a loving daughter. And the tribute reads, "Mum, we were not ready for you to leave us all behind. If we knew the last kiss and cuddle was the last one, we wouldn't have let you go. Our hearts are broken, never to fully mend. How do we comprehend that we will never see you again? We are all proud to say that you're our mum. You shaped us into who we have become. For now, it is goodbye until we meet again. Love from Alicia, Janelle, Lacey and Clayton." A wonderful tribute there from the young ones. Yeah, from the kids. Now I'd like to call on someone who knew... Karen? Oh, Karen, right. You're on next then, Mum. Karen, it's all yours. Stay as long as you like.
Before I say anything, I'm going to miss her more than words will ever say. She was not only my cousin, she was like a sister to me and a very, very dear friend. We grew up streets apart in Burnie, us in Stirling Street and Sharon in Ogden Street, where she remained. we come and went, but Stirling Street, one of my first memories there is us playing hopscotch out the front of our house, and we always swung on Mum's clothesline, which she did not like. I skinned my nose and my knees more than once. And although we would always see each other at Nan's, it was always family time, and Sharon and Kim and I would, especially when we was up the Gawler, we'd go down to that big clothesline and prop it up or take Nan's washing off, go and pick some fruit, or go down to the river on Bell with the sledge. Many memories of us as little kids up the Gawler. Then we moved back a bit closer. We come into Lower Gawler ourselves. And Sharon and Kim and I would often walk up to Maxwell's shops and get lollies. Sharon and I got choo-choo bars, and I lost my tooth on one. Then we went back down to Ogden Street, which was where our sort of adventure began again. We would go up to Ridgely to Gardam's riding school, Sharon and Kim and I, and we would ride the ponies. It's a big hike from Burnie up there, but we did it every Saturday. We would walk his ponies around at carnivals just so we could get our free pony rides. Then we also took an adventure down below Ogden Street, this massive, massive cement pipe. We would shoot down that things on cardboard boxes. I seriously don't know how we didn't scalp ourselves. You wouldn't do it now, honestly. You just wouldn't. We would also go over to the farmer's barn and make tunnels in his barn, which he did not like. He chased us one day, and Sharon said he was an old bastard, as she did. My sister Kimmy also got pelted with rotten eggs. Oh, she stunk like a polecat, and Sharon and I were laughing so much, I tell you. Oh, Mum was beside herself. But then as we got a little bit older again, we would put on our fineries and go down to Terrylands to the pinball parlour. We both had these jeans that were far, far too tight. She would lay on the bed holding the button together, and I'd zip it up with a coat hanger. And she would repeat that on me. And off we'd go. We'd come back to Auntie Dot's and couldn't wait to unbutton them, and the welts around us was unbelievable. But still we did it. In amongst all this, we also went up to Lake Crescent many times, up to the shack. It was an amazing adventure for all of us. We would get out of the car and it would be who was first to build a toilet, because there was no toilet. And then the next thing was we would all grab a branch, whittle it down and make a tiddly rod so we could catch tiddlies, galaxias, so Dad and Uncle Oscar could go long lining for the big trout. We had many, many amazing times there, times that I will never forget. A little bit older again, Sharon and Kim and I would stay at Nan's in Main Street through our holidays, and we would spring clean Nan's house. Pop would always make his famous omelette and fried bread, if I was lucky, in the morning. And he used to say to us girls, "Don't try going out that window, I can hear a pin drop." Well, he couldn't have heard a rock drop, because the three of us went out that window, down into Ulverston, and another cousin, Dale, had, I think it was like a pinball parlour, 8-ball place. And we would sneak into there and then have to sneak back in the window and pray that Pop didn't hear us, because, I mean, don't know that he would have smacked us, but he would have growled very badly. Then Sharon and I and Auntie Dot and Uncle Max We had a wonderful cruise at Strawn. We went to Hobart, went through Mona Museum, which I hated. Sharon was okay with it. Don't think you was fond of it either, Auntie Dot. It was awful. But we had a thoroughly wonderful trip through Hobart and down to Strawn on the cruise, which I will never forget. We also spent a weekend at Scamander when we went and seen the Black Sorrows, and that was an absolute ball. But in between all of this, she looked after me when I had my knee surgery and my hip surgery, and she was there for 3 months, and there wasn't enough that she couldn't have done for me, and I will be forever grateful for that. She will always be in my heart. I will never forget her, ever. I just got a little poem here that I would like to read. It's not one that was in the leaflet, but for me it was what I wanted to say. On the wings of a butterfly, as I was walking deep in sorrow, thinking about the time we shared, a butterfly danced around me, a white cloud in the evening air. I knew that your soul was finally home and free, but I felt like it was a blessing, a message from you to me. Now you can fly, now you can soar, so high above this world where troubles are no more. The time has come to say goodbye and let your soul go to heaven on the wings of a butterfly. Just a few days after they called us to the church to pray, loved ones gathered around you to bless and send you on your way. As I got up to speak, it suddenly caught my eye. White wings against the window, a beautiful butterfly. Now you can fly, now you can soar, so high above this world where troubles are no more. This love of ours will never die, so let your soul go to heaven on the wings of a butterfly. One day we'll meet again in heaven and we will fly like that butterfly. Love you, Sharon. You will always be my Shazzy.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Karen, for that heartfelt tribute. Very well received, and Sharon would have loved that. Thank you. And now I think, Mum, it's your turn. And she has some wonderful things to say about a wonderful daughter. Stay as long as you like.
No, it's just a short one. Actually, I'm going to talk about the last few years that Sharon moved back home to live with me. She made the middle room her bedroom, painted it, acquired some old furniture, cleaned it up and painted it, bought a new bed, purchased new carpet, large television, and made it her own private little place. Sharon was well liked by her aunties and uncles and told my sister Daisy, who lived in Kempsey, that she would come and look after her and her partner, who suffered from dementia. Sharon packed her bags and headed off to Kempsey. When Sharon arrived, she was told her auntie had suffered a major stroke. Sharon was taken to the Kempsey Hospital where she saw her auntie for the last time. She then had to deal with Fred, who was very dependent on her. She couldn't go for a shower, or he's banging on the bathroom door. "Where are you, Sharon? Where are you, Sharon?" So Fred's son Fred's son Stephen and Sharon arranged for Fred to be assessed for the aged care home. Whilst he was in hospital waiting to be placed, Sharon would visit. It seemed that she was the only one that he would listen to. So when he was given a new home, the nurses who had witnessed her behaviour asked Sharon to spend a few nights in his room to settle him down. She stayed 3 nights and it worked a treat. He settled into the home. Meanwhile, she came back home. A few months later, my brother Max, who loved Sharon very dearly, was struggling with his health. Sharon volunteered to look after him, so Sharon packed her bags and headed off to Mooroopna. She spent the next 5 months caring for him until the end. Max's children will be ever grateful to Sharon for what she did for their father. She was an extremely caring person. Right, now, Sharon loved to cook, but she was messy. Recently, Sharon and I went to Melbourne for a wedding and an 80th birthday celebration. We stayed with her aunt, my sister-in-law. Sharon was eager to cook. She cooked a delicious meal that was enjoyed by all. After the meal, her auntie Susie whispered to me, "That was delicious, but isn't she messy?" So, I will miss her yummy pastas and stews and jams and pickles and anything really. Her gravy was top. She somehow knew exactly what it needed. She and cousin Stephen, who is sitting here, often talked and laughed about the last meal she cooked for Uncle Max. Sausages and onion gravy. They said there were no way that he would let them take that dish away until he finished. She was proud that she had cooked him his last supper. Sharon and I got on well. We had our little disagreements. My beautiful grandchildren could certainly relate some stories to you. Lacey would often tell us we were like an old married couple. She was my beautiful daughter, but also my friend. Thank you, people.
Yeah, hard work for a mum to get up and eulogise a daughter like that, and Karen, wonderfully received as well. So, yeah, thank you both so much. And now, as I said earlier, I will open the service for anyone else who has a story to share that you might like to share with everyone at the moment. And I know there'll be lots of stories afterwards around the coffee cup and the tea cup. No, it doesn't look like any. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, we do. We have a starter. There you are, sir.
G'day everyone, I'm Stephen Gillard, Max's son. Sharon and I finished up getting on really well when she came over to help look after Dad. The first time I actually met Sharon, she was only 16, where she came over to Victoria mainland with Nan and Pop to go to my engagement party. That was the first time and only time I ever saw Nan and Pop, and that was 43 years ago. She was pretty quiet and timid, but boy did that change. Her and Auntie Dot would talk underwater with a mouthful of marbles, I reckon. They both come visit a few times. Then when Sharon offered to look after Dad as he got worse, we didn't think it'd be so quick. She came over, stayed the whole six months, and it was a real battle. It was harder than she thought it was going to be because she's emotionally involved in it as well. Our family, the sisters Debbie, Karen and Amanda, couldn't thank Sharon enough. And we'll always be grateful for that. Well, Mrs. Sharon, and thanks a lot.
Yeah, tribute straight from the heart, and yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Is there anybody else before we move on? Oh, yes. Plenty of wonderful things to say about a wonderful lady. Thank you.
Hello. I'd like to thank my sister Karen for those wonderful stories and sharing, and Auntie Dot. Yeah. I'd just like to read a poem that we've got here. We weren't prepared for you to go. You were too full of life, taken away from us so soon. It's still hard to believe how much we'll miss your smile and your laughter in our ears. Your absence leaves a hole in us. We're filling with our tears. You taught us how to be our best, to be in the moment and to live, to never hold a grudge too long, and to be loyal friendship to give. Your presence was a light and joy we never realised would someday end, just like the brilliant falling star that curved around heaven's bend. And though we cannot understand the reasons why God took you now, we'll do our best to accept this loss, to carry on somehow. We will remember you forever. For you, our hearts will always have room. We loved you more than you'll ever know, and you left us far, far too soon. Rest in peace, Sharon. Love you.
Yeah, true words indeed in eulogising this lovely lady. Right, we'll now move on and go back a little in Sharon's life per virtue of some very treasured family photographs and some of Sharon's favourite music played in the background as we go back a little in Sharon's life. Thank you.
I'm sitting here in the boring room. It's just another rainy Sunday afternoon. I'm wasting my time, I got nothing to do. I'm hanging around, I'm waiting for you, but nothing ever happens. And I wonder, I'm driving around in my car. I'm driving too fast, I'm driving too far. I'd like to change my point of view. I feel so lonely, I'm waiting for you, but nothing ever happens. And I wonder how, I wonder why. Yesterday you told me about the blue, blue sky, and all that I can see is just a yellow lemon tree. I'm turning my head up and down. I'm turning around, and all that I can see is just another lemon tree. Sing da 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 dee da 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 dee da 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 dee dee da. I'm sitting here, I miss the power. I'd like to go out, taking a shower, but there's a heavy cloud inside my head. I feel so tired, put myself into bed. Well, nothing ever happens, and I wonder. Isolation is not good for me. Isolation, I don't want to sit on a lemon tree. I'm stepping around in the desert of joy. Baby, anyhow I'll get another toy, and everything will happen. And you wonder, I wonder how, I wonder why. Yesterday you told me about the blue, blue sky, and all that I can see is just another lemon tree. I'm turning my head up and down. I'm turning around, and all that I can see is just a yellow lemon tree. And I wonder how, I wonder why. Yesterday you told me about the blue, blue sky, and all that I can see, and all that I can see, and all that I can see is just a yellow lemon tree.
Thank you for sharing those treasured memories with us. Some people come into our lives and leave having made our lives far richer. Sharon moved our souls in many ways. She awakened us to new understandings of love, of patience and of kindness. And some people, just by living life, make the world a much better and a much more beautiful place in which to live. Sharon filled the lives of all of those around her with new understandings of generosity and caring. She filled our lives with peace, with love, with laughter and with serenity. When Sharon said goodbye, she left footprints on our hearts, and we will never be the same. Thank you, Sharon, for all the gifts that you have left in our hearts, but you will live on in the hearts of all those who loved you. I think Sharon's wish for everybody remaining would be in the words of the Irish blessing, and this will be our last part of service in the chapel today. And Sharon's wish for you people would be, may the road rise up to meet you, may the wind be always at your back, may the sun shine warmly upon your face, and the rains fall softly upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you safely in the palm of his hand. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Could I now invite you to stand as we commence to take our final journey with Sharon.
You may think that I'm talking foolish. You've heard that I'm wild and I'm free. You may wonder how I can promise you now this love that I feel for you always will be. But you're not just time that I'm killing. I'm no longer one of those guys. As sure as I live, this love that I give is gonna be yours until the day that I die. Oh baby, I'm gonna love you forever, forever and ever, amen. As long as old men sit and talk about the weather, as long as old women sit and talk about old men. If you wonder how long I'll be faithful, I'll be happy to tell you again. I'm gonna love you forever and ever, forever and ever, amen. They say time takes its toll on the body, makes the young girl's brown hair turn gray. Well, honey, I don't care, I ain't in love with your hair. And if it all fell out, well, I'd love you anyway. They say time can play tricks on memory, make people forget things they knew. Well, it's easy to see, it's happening to me. I've already forgotten every woman but you. Oh darling, I'm gonna love you forever, forever and ever, amen. As long as old men sit and talk about the weather, as long as old women sit and talk about old men. If you wonder how long I'll be faithful, well, just listen to how this song